We are live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Storyhive On Location in Victoria with beats, eats, and more. We were trying to coordinate.
It was the best I could do.
That was excellent. I tried to match you,
but you didn't know what I was going to do.
No, I didn't.
So there was no way. I was 2 steps ahead.
I really tried. But anyways, I am your host, Kazi. We are broadcasting live from the unceded ancestral Lekwungen territories. Big shout outs, utmost gratitude, love, and respects to the original stewards and protectors of these lands and waters. That is the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations. This is episode 3 of our Victoria chapter. We are no longer in Van City, and I have been having such a good time reconnecting with the Victoria homies who I got to meet back in 2024 when I was here in February for Winter Arts Fest. And one of those homies so happens to be this man right here, Andrew, aka Looting, a boundary blurring DJ, producer, and multidisciplinary artist based here in Victoria, BC, known for his high energy post-genre sets that tangle jungle, UK funky, deconstructed club, hardcore, experimental textures, and more. Looting is a force in the underground with 9 albums, festival appearances, and co-founding the label Pleasure Management, also president of Resonance Collective. That was a joke?
Well, no, it wasn't a joke. It's just like we're a lateral organization. So
there you go.
Yeah. So like it's just when you do the paperwork.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I have no function as a president, really.
There we go.
I do very little.
Part of Resonance Collective, on paper, president, but whatever. He's been shaping soundscapes that hit both the head, the heart, and the dance floor. Say what? Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
The homie.
Thank you.
Looting.
Thank
Jamal lit. What do you call these things?
It's they're traditionally referred to as
a lighter.
Lighters.
That's it.
That was cool.
You know what was so weird? Like, do you speak any other languages?
No.
Okay.
Not thoroughly.
Yeah, so, in my travels, I've picked up a lot of different slang, words, languages, and sometimes my brain just glitches and I can only think of a different language word for that item. And in my mind just now, I was looking at the lighter and I was like, briquet, which is like French. Yeah, Quebecois slang. And I was like, what is the word?
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I find that, I think that's really interesting.
The brain glitching.
The linguistic touches of like how there's words for things in other languages that there aren't words for in
that
a lot of the time English.
Yes.
When you get down to it. Yeah.
Sometimes you're just limited and you have to use another language or hand signals to express a vibe. I'm so stoked that you're here. Thank you for being a guest.
This is amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like obviously a huge fan of both of you.
Yeah.
And everything you do.
And likewise, like super talented and just a great energy and great vibe. And when we first connected back in 2024 for organizing Winter Arts Fest, right away I was like, we were looking for somebody to host the official after party. And I was like, there's got to be people out here who are really already doing it. And, through my search through the internet, I was like, look at these guys and this vibe and just so diverse, just really different from what I saw of other people producing events. And I just cold call reached out via internet and
Best
y'all
cold
responded.
call ever, honestly.
Yeah. And
really.
the DMs, the cold DMs.
Yeah. Cold DMs are my favorite, actually.
Yeah. Cold DMs that got hot.
It's my favorite dessert. Cold DMs after a big dinner.
Yeah.
Like when you're high on the endorphins of the food, and then you just go straight into somebody's inbox who you shouldn't. Like, I love that. The after dinner cold DM to like a record label that will never open it.
Yeah.
All the time, actually.
Oh man, we're going to be giggling lots in this 1 hour live stream. What's dope about this is we are building this archive. You are our 90, did I say 6 or 7? I think I said 97th interview in 3 seasons of, Beats, Eats, and More. And we're really able to capture the stories, the creative journeys of each person who sits in front of us. And yeah, now it's your turn.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to be here right now.
In your apartment.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
I see you.
I love you. I love you.
No.
Yeah.
Get security. I'm kidding. Get them out of here. I'm gonna stop. Okay, I'll stop being silly and we can get to business.
Okay. You can keep being silly. It's fine. I'll reel it in.
That will continue.
This will be the hand signal.
That will continue, but also we can do silly business.
I want to start from, the beginning of how this creative human being came to be in front of us in terms of, in order for us to understand who you are as an artist and a creative here and now, what do we need to know about a young Andrew?
Oh wow, that's the question.
That's
That's the whole. Okay.
Like who,
no, I can.
Or
do
do
that
I need to
sure.
rephrase that?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's just such a big question. Like, what do you need to know? You don't need to know anything really.
Yeah.
Like, you can know whatever you want, but I can provide a bit of context for why I'm doing exactly what I'm doing. So that context would start in my I always appreciate an artist self-locating. So my self-location process has been extremely difficult. Talking about influence, my influence is my life so far, and it's been very complicated, to say the least. And musically, I think that comes through. Sometimes I joke that a lot of people joke that my music makes them cry quite a lot. And I've always kind of just had like this weird sense for melancholy in music being used as a voice for existential struggle, and that's been an existential struggle that I've myself in trying to find out who I am. So the context for that is that I was adopted, basically. So I feel a bit disconnected from place. I was adopted from birth, and I've never met anybody that was biologically related to me, and I don't know any of their names. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they look like. And so that's put me in an interesting place, like for trying to figure out what I'm to do with the world that is presented before me. So what I decided to do actually through a series of interesting events, I was being very noisy in church. Sorry, I'll tie it up here. So I was being really noisy in church, my dad, because I was often very noisy in church, and still am. And then he was like, if you shut up for the rest of church, I will buy you a guitar. And that's where it all started. Is I didn't, but he got me a guitar anyway. And I ended up with a white Fender Stratocaster, and I never stopped. It was when I was 13 years old, and it was, so before that I kind of wanted to be a comedian. I knew I wanted to perform. There's lots of traumatic reasons for that because of the sort of situations of my adoption. I recently had my diagnosis from ADHD, strictly switched to obsessive compulsive, as well as borderline personality, and with autistic traits. So essentially I found out that 37 years of my life had been living under a false pretense that I was somehow similar neurologically to people that were raising me. And then that turned into a people-pleasing habit. Long story short, I ended up as a musician. And I started playing guitar. I played guitar every day from the time I was 13 to maybe last year I put it down, and I'm 37 now. I put it down more often than I ever have before. But alongside that came with a lot of studio time. And I was a very isolated kid. I was very outgoing, but I was very I was an outgoing invert, or an outgoing somebody that was, I built such a strong mask that it turned into being my special interest ended up being music. So
was that growing up here?
No, I grew up in a very small town called Fort St. John, which is just it's about 8 hours north of Prince George.
Okay.
So very close to Alberta, and is practically Alberta. Really no culture, really nothing. It's an oil field town. I would never recommend going there. Personally, I love the people and everything, but culturally, it's kind of devoid, and it's because it's essentially a corporate settler establishment. I was raised in a small little area outside, so we walked I commuted like 15 minutes back and forth. So I was very isolated as a kid, and I spent a lot of time in the literal woods just making music with a device that I have here. It's just called a Zoom R24, and I think like gear heads will probably recognize Zoom R24 as one of the most probably one of the best all-in-one portable studios that ever existed. It came out in like 2003. I got it in 2004, and I still have it. It's actually just on loan right now. I would bring it out and dust it off, but I don't have it. So from there, I kind of I got really interested in music, and then I was also writing music. I wasn't interested at the time. The crossover wasn't there. I was singing in hardcore death metal, screamo, what you'd call now like emo.
Right.
I was singing bands like that. I was drumming in death metal bands.
And was that there or here?
Up there, yeah. I lived there till I was 25.
Okay.
And I played up until I moved away. Up until about 3 to 4 years before I moved away in 2012. So from 2007 is when I started doing electronic music as a full-time thing, but I was always kind of trying to incorporate it. And from then I just started making music that felt right to me, and I stopped paying as much attention to the audience. I think that's what happened. Was the switch was when I was singer-songwriter, I was very focused on the amount of performance that I was doing. And I was very focused on the performance, and I was worn down by it so heavily, and I traveled by means of playing guitar and singing to support myself, and obviously it didn't go well all the time, and that was a lot of experience that I was using to kind of build this vocabulary of songs that I had written. I had 100 memorized. I think at my best memorization, I was about 130 songs memorized, all lyrics and covers and things like that. Because I was autistic a little bit, and that was really my special interest. And my parents were always kind of sorry, and I also don't mean to say that I was autistic, because the cost of the diagnosis is not something that I can afford. But the OCD really did affect my life really heavily, and it became that I got really obsessed with music. Luckily, that was something that I could turn into a skill set that's become very valuable to me. So long story short, I got into music when I was 13, and from the day I started, I haven't stopped or even thought twice. I think I might take a break when I turn 40, so that's 3 years from now or something. So I talked to my partner about how if when I hit 40 and it's not popped, maybe I'll just start making music and just and not really put it out and just hide it. And then hide it in a vault or something.
Oh, a time capsule.
We're getting way off topic here.
Yeah.
So, sorry, that was a really long answer.
No, that's really interesting. It's also really interesting to hear that you started with this instrument of the guitar. You know?
Yeah.
And from the guitar, what else have you picked up?
I think I was a drummer before I was ever interested in performing music. Rhythm was always something that I have memories of rhythm being important to me. And then I also have one of these, which became really useful because so when I was in bands and stuff, when I was drumming, before I started to drum, the reason I thought I would be good at drumming is because my parents saw me just constantly doing stuff. And I did that a lot. I did that bouncing knee thing, and I didn't really know why. Now I know why. But what happened was that my sense of I needed a reason, or I needed a way to disguise my stimming in class or whatever. So I just got really good at finger drumming, and then that translated to me being a drummer for lots of bands. I was 10 years, I think, straight of just metal bands doing experimental jazz stuff. Because that's really we can talk about that if you like, because there is a difference between the music, my journey of performing and writing, and the journey of understanding and trying to have a deep knowledge of what music is more of. So there are many paths, right? And we all have many paths, but my musical path, I'd say, was really involved with drumming. So I started drumming first, 10 years straight, and then I moved from, because if you listen to my more recent stuff, like I'm much more dexterous with DAW percussion, or just like with drum machines and programming and things. So that's become how I express it. But before, I needed an outlet because I would just freak out. Like if I didn't get a chance to beat on something in rhythm, I would just like lose it. And yeah, that's and so I was drumming before I even realized that I wanted to be a drummer. And then I picked up a guitar and I realized I could sing quite well. And then I made a living. I lived with my parents for a long time, but like I made a living writing, producing singer-songwriter music, as well as drumming in death metal bands. So I was producing like experimental singer-songwriter music. I actually have a few artifacts that I could bring out later.
Okay.
So I was doing those two things, and I lost where I was.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna ask you, like,
Yeah.
because you have so many genres of music that you touch and that you play, and that like is also like, I feel like I can hear through your sounds and through the journey of your sounds. Can you just like timeline wise go through the different genres, because it's even hard to even call things genres anymore because of how things are evolving, that you've gone through in the beginning? So you started with heavy metal. How did
so
you
like what I got
to,
interested in, and like the genre tree is large and long. Sorry, I was probably talking to my hands there.
Yeah.
So let me have a sip of water.
Yeah, no worries.
And check my notes. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
So the conversation of genre occurs to me as a conversation of almost like periodic table of elements, and I see it kind of. Actually, I have to refer to. So I am a interdisciplinary artist in the sense that I also consider myself a theorist as of like the last couple of years. I've been really pushing my writing and updating my knowledge of things related to critical theory and like geopolitics, as well as I would say world economic theory in the idea that the evolution of economic theory. So I've been interested in like not so much Bitcoin itself, but like the idea of Bitcoin and where it comes from, and like there's some philosophical rundowns on what Bitcoin is. So I'm interested in theory very heavily, and that's always influenced my interest in music. So my earliest interests in music were okay, so we could say like I listened to the music that my parents listened to. We all listen to the music that our parents listen to, right? Like my dad was really into a lot of like, he showed me stuff like Led Zeppelin, but he was more interested in like a bit of the prettier like acoustic stuff. He was really interested in, there was an interesting one, like he showed me a barbershop quartet, and I have memories of this barbershop quartet doing Only You, that like classic, the Only You, like Only You, like that. It's like this song. But I was playing this PC dirt bike game and like just doing jumps, listening to like Only You covered by a barbershop quartet while I'm sitting in like 1993. I have stacks of like Rolling Stone this high from the years before, because I think I probably became like I probably became sapient or like sentient when I turned like 12 or 13.
Okay, what does sapient mean?
Well, to just be like to be experiencing is one thing, but then to be cognitive, like cognitive and processing and aware of your thinking. I'm gonna get roasted online for using sapience wrong, but that's fine. I could use the update if I'm wrong. But the idea of that is that like my explorations in philosophy and critical theory and history and historicity and things like that influenced my music really heavily. So when I was very, very young, I got into, at the same time I was listening to, say, like a Nirvana album, I was also listening to like a John Zorn album. Or if I was listening to, say, a Mudvayne album, I was really into nu metal. Nu metal is one of the, because I think that so the reason I got into metal is because metal was growing at the time. When I discovered like heavy music, it was through my friends who, looking back, were like extremely mean to me, but like they taught me so much about music. Like I wouldn't have gotten so sad and been able to really understand Korn if I hadn't been like, verbally abused by the kids at my school and stuff. So like the sadness affected what music I was into, so you could say I'm into sad music. I'm into black metal is a big one for me. I love black metal. Not a huge fan of first wave black metal, so don't quote me as like a fundamentalist black metalist.
Yeah.
But I'm a metalhead. Like I
Yeah.
came from metalhead. I sang in bands as screamer, post-hardcore groups, drummed in bands, and really just utilized my voice because I taught myself to sing via like cranking stereos and then just like screaming over the music to try to just emulate what they were doing, and then develop my own style. And then I started going to bands. I was really interested in experimental music from the beginning. Experimental music has always been important to me because I think I'm a, what's that called? A neophyte?
Oh,
I'm a
what's that?
It's just like constantly obsessed with new stuff. Like everything's got to be new. And
Neophyte.
I really love watching things evolve, and I have a really good intuition for where things will go musically.
I can see that.
I've been right a few times. Like the
Yeah.
Jersey Club being a part of pop music thing called from the beginning. And like when Diplo messed with the Jersey Club scene, I was like right on Unique's side. Like there's this whole, I've been following the path of like, I've been following it for a while, and it's led me here. It's not like I saw what was going on.
Right.
I was always interested in, so I have three pillars of interest when it comes to music and music, rhythm, and I'm not going to say aesthetic, but like I would say aesthetic in a formal sense, like ideology and also like visual language, symbology, and like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would be like I would combine all those things into the aesthetic. So those would be my three pillars, and I like complex rhythms. I've always liked complex rhythms. I don't know why.
Yes.
It's just something I'm obsessed with. I was born with a irregular heartbeat, and that makes me think that there has something to do with. I got like as soon as I heard the Amen break, ages ago in 2000 whatever, when I was in high school through Slipknot. I got into jungle through Slipknot. Like there's a weird. I come at the whole scene at a weird angle, right? Like I came at every scene that I entered at a weird angle. What happened was like I was interested in metal, and I really liked the emotionality of new metal, and I liked the complexity of say like death metal. So when those two things, I think inevitably like people's I think like I was talking with I was talking with somebody earlier about this, is the idea that like there's this interscalar like some people might be familiar with the idea of time dilation or nonlinear time dilation, which is some eras move very quickly and some move very slowly, and there seems to be this like there seems to be this like layering of eras over top of each other now, because time has become a flat circle of sorts with our technological age, as we're
Yes.
literally sitting here on the internet right now. So
What eras would you say are moving quickly, and are others moving slowly right now?
right now,
Yeah.
I'd say there's genres that are moving quickly
Yeah.
right now. If you were looking like if you're
And by quickly, you mean like it's having its run and then moving on. Everyone's moving on.
Oh,
or?
I think the growth is exponential.
Got it.
I think that my favorite thing right now that's growing really heavily, that is really what I'm interested in, and I'm not so sure what everybody else thinks of it, but there's a few albums. So Rainy Miller and Space Africa both did a collaboration, and I think that was like one of my albums of the year.
Yeah.
And also, obviously, I don't know if it's obvious. Sorry.
Yeah.
But if you listen to my music, it might be obvious.
Yeah.
But like Aya is another one, like from that's running. Yes, Come On, like the record label.
Okay.
And they do the way that people are now, because as the technology moves forward, so we can incorporate our more complex emotions into that technology. And I think like where we're at right now is a really interesting place, because autotune just became free. And I think that shifted everything, because there's a level of accessibility. So if we look back to why techno in Detroit took the place of Motown when Motown left to go to the West Coast. And those instruments were from the Motown studios, were then distributed into pawn shops and secondhand stores throughout Detroit, Chicago, and then they fell into the hands of Juan Atkins and the people that developed techno as we know it. And like all due respect to my knowledge of these things through DeForest Brown Jr., who's I've been remotely just like obsessed with for so long, and like it's actually very nice to be able to just like tell people to go read DeForest Brown Jr.'s Assembling a Black Counterculture, and they're also living in, or they are in and around Vancouver doing exhibits at the, I think the Emily Carr thing.
Oh,
I got to go see
cool.
them speak, and it was a dream come true because I've followed them since 2018.
Wow.
And like read everything they've done. I have their book, and I've loaned the book now to some people just to make sure that the information is just correctly gotten out there, like how these things came to be and the timeline that exists from our very earliest experiences as a collective of humans all the way to what our club experience is now. There's a straight line. It's traceable. It's and the work I felt like had not so thoroughly been done until DeForest did it, and I was like I feel very grateful to even just like be aware of who they are, and then even to be in like proximity of them in the world is crazy. Like how I found out that they kind of maybe had like changed into an area that I could have like maybe come see them was because I was. It's funny because we worked together through meeting at Herman's.
Yes.
Upstairs.
I totally forgot the name of that venue. I was trying to remember. I was like, it's right here on this street. But it's no longer really.
It actually exists as the Coda now.
Okay.
It's been renovated. But funny enough, like there was the Wonderment event, and there was like a Chicago legend in Herman's playing.
Who?
It slips my mind right now.
Like a Chicago, like a
yeah,
house or techno?
House, old house. And then I follow DeForest as Clinical Poetics on Instagram, and I was scrolling through, and I'm like, why is DeForest Brown Jr. in Herman's upstairs right now? That's because if you're from Victoria, that would probably land as why would somebody, but it was really interesting. So that's just like how. So my interest in theory has collapsed into my music, and now I see them kind of like is inseparable. My like interest in theory is part of my language that
That's
I
really
use
cool.
musically. Yeah. I got way off topic there. What
That's
were we talking
okay.
about?
I was asking you about taking me through the timeline
Yes.
of how you
Oh,
got
hey,
into
I got much
these
more.
genres. But
where did we land on that?
Well, more specifically, I want to know, like, what was the?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we've got our assistants here getting us refills of water. No big deal, aka Jamal. I guess I wanted to know, from knowing like the early origins musically of what you've been into, what was this moment when you first discovered or came across techno?
Thank you.
Techno, that you were like, whoa, I'm into this. This is the stuff I want to start creating.
Not techno specifically until actually I'd say like maybe the mid 2000s when I really like started to grasp like an understanding of what it was.
Do you have a specific moment that like it hit you and you're like,
techno
what is
specifically?
this? Yeah, or like, like the crossover into like electronic.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Bass production,
it was actually,
stuff like that.
It was actually drums for me.
Yeah.
The Amen break in a Slipknot album, as I was mentioning earlier, I think that was my earliest. I had and because I was born a bit, I was early in my life I was born.
Yeah.
And then I got into music. And then I was in a CD store. Like there was a CD Plus in my hometown that I used.
What is that, like an HMV or something?
It was it was the like baby cousin of HMV for like small rural malls.
Okay.
CD Plus.
Yeah.
And so I would pilgrimage there because I lived out of town. I would pilgrimage there after school because it was downtown. And I had a friend, so I was metalhead, and like the metalhead clique was very strict about the rules. Like you don't wander over to the world music section. You don't wander over to the comedy section. You don't wander, and especially unless you want trouble, you do not go to the electronic section. As a metalhead in like '96, that was a rule, right? But I was like secretly like closeted electronica fan. Like I'd say like Aphex Twin was the first real one, the real like more so Venetian snares because I really appreciated complex rhythms, and it doesn't really get more complex than Venetian snares.
Okay.
It does now. I'd say there are people, right? But not so much. Like the breakcore scene was a huge influence on me. So when I first realized that I was,
you're not allowed to click that.
I was first realized that I was interested in. I first realized I was into electronic music when, and I came out in 2013. as an electronic music fan and renounced my metalheadness, kind of. Because I was like, I can't stand the rules. So electronic music allowed me to just not, and I don't even like calling it electronic music. It allowed me to just really shape stuff. So when I made music in my room with the guitars and stuff, it was like I would be just layering over and over with microphones and guitars and stuff like that. So I was kind of doing DAW work, like digital audio workstation work, analog, in an analog sense. So this was a natural progression for me to do it. So when I realized that you could chop drum loops, it was over. That was the moment. So when I realized that somebody wasn't drumming really fast with 19 arms, when I became cognizant of the fact that these things were not real people, because when I was young, like I thought that when you heard a synth in a Dream Theater song, that there was a orchestra. And then slowly I got smarter than I was when I was young. And I realized what was going on, and I was like, I need some of that. So that's what happened. Yeah.
I love that. That's amazing.
I'm trying to do short answers.
Yeah. How did you end up here?
In Victoria?
Yeah.
I moved to Victoria after 9 years in Nelson, where I worked with Blue Nightclub. That's in the bio, I guess, is that I worked with Blue Nightclub for 2 years, just running club nights. So like, as soon as I figured out what a club night was, I started putting them on, and that was like 2008. 2008 it started, and then I started DJing in 2010, and then I was producing by 2000, like producing on a computer, making boom bap, a lot of boom bap stuff initially, like things that were kind of like what Unit was doing in the same time period, or like the LA beat scene. There was this old thing, I don't know if anybody, is there a chat? Hey. Put a flame in the chat if you remember Tempo Clash, which was like, okay, wait, is there any flames? I don't want to give it away yet. Okay, it was Unit, Kutma, Blue Daisy, and maybe one more person. Yeah. I think. Oh, Robot. I can't say their last one on here because it'll probably get censored. But it was a old project, right? Like I was making a lot of stuff like that. Yeah. Because it's accessible, like it's very like learning how to make that music is like a really good first step to learning how to use like drum machines and samplers and stuff. So initially I was like really interested in drum breaking, and then I found it through Slipknot, but it took me a really long time to learn, and I'm gonna stop talking now.
No, we love you talking. We love you telling your stories.
I'll keep talking, but I mean,
okay,
like,
but we're looping it back to you coming out here to Victoria. Why did you choose to come out here?
Victoria? Sorry, I was talking about Bloom and stuff.
That's okay. We get lost in thoughts, it's fine. Yeah. It happens to all of us.
I moved here out of necessity. Nelson had no more vacancy.
Okay.
And I had stopped working with the club, I think like a few months before. For whatever reasons, I'd stopped working for the club at that point. I don't know exactly what the circumstance was. But the reason that I left is because there was just nowhere. The person that I was living with got evicted, right? And then I came with them here, and after a while, I obviously made friends and stuff. And then,
what was that scene like here?
When I got here?
Yeah, in terms of like the music scene, could you find right away what you liked, or did it take some time? / were you the one who just had to create it?
That's all of those things a little bit. I've lived online for a very long time. When I was young, I always knew that I wanted to be on computers a lot. So I decided to just be on computers all the time. So when I got interested in electronic music, one of the areas that I was really interested in was ambient, because one of my favorite kinds of music was ambient. Even before I was interested in electronic music, I was really interested in a band called ISIS, and one of my first exposures to ambient music was through an album they did called Oceanic Remixed. ISIS, the band. And there was the ambient music really. Oh my God, I really love.
We're talking about Victoria. What the scene was like here. Musically, you find the thing you liked.
I lost really. Well, musically, I found the thing I liked. But my interest, I tracked the scene basically. It was like as somebody getting into the electronic music scene in a city where there was no electronic music scene, I hungrily kept up to date with Vancouver's music scene from Fort St. John, randomly in my basement, like just reading about Michael Redd, reading about Self-Evident absolutely like changed the way I looked at music. Michael Redd changed the way I look at music and
shout outs to
sound.
Michael Redd.
Michael Redd, Low Indigo, and all they changed my life in such a heavy way, like remotely, that I was sort of like, when I got here, I knew quite a bit about the scene when I got here. And one of the reasons I decided to come here was because I hadn't heard much. And when I got here, I knew that there was companies and I knew there were people doing things. And when I got here, I was both like really interested in learning and getting involved. And then and then 2020 happened. And like for me, the pandemic was something that kind of gave me a chance to really, like a lot of people slowed down in the pandemic, and that gave me time to kick up like 15 gears. And I quit drinking. I've been sober for 2 years.
Yes.
With like, I'm not perfect, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But I've been happy with my sobriety for 2 years, and that's meant like my substance abuse has been like, in 2020 I got rid of it in a lot of where I did the best I could to really like, and I think I did. And then what also happened was, I think I talked a bit earlier about the removal of the audience in the artistic practice. And I think leading up to 2020, there were so many musical movements, I'd say, that included the possibility of removing the audience. And then when
What do you mean by that?
Well, like to not allow the reception of the work to interfere with the creation of the work. I felt a moment in the early 2000s when I felt that at some point social media had infected not social media necessarily, but the panopticon that it creates it affected my
Ability
creative
to create.
process.
Yeah.
It affected, and it to take my mind off and worry about what I was doing. So then I had always had that in mind, that like the audience is not important to my creative process. Everybody's is different. But I learned early on that I felt better making, or I felt I could sleep at night making music that I enjoyed.
Yes.
And it was soothing, and it was what I did, and I was immediately kind of rewarded for being unique. And then what ended up happening was I've lost my train of thought again.
The Victoria scene.
Yeah. So when I got here, there was like things going on, and I was very knowledgeable of the things that going on. I was hoping to come in and like meet, but then 2020 happened,
Right.
and also like Subdivision wasn't around when I got here. Hush wasn't around when I got here. I had kind of missed an era, but I was aware. Like I immediately met Rhythmicon.
Sorry, quick sidebar for anyone who doesn't know. Who is Subdivision? Hush?
I can explain those things.
Yeah.
Well, first, Subdivision was run by Chris Longshanks, and Quinn Dawson, I believe, was at least like, they were the two people that I know that were a part of it, and then that I know were helped like organizing it. And Subdivision was as close to something that I saw happening on the international scene, like related to the things that I was interested in. It's as close as I could come in a regional sense from Victoria. Well, me observing, right? Like, so if I think like aesthetically, I immediately noticed Subdivision is like, right, I love this.
Yeah.
Like it is very serious, and it like, I very much like that I love that there's linguistic play in like all the things just like immediately
like a
called to me.
music group, or they're
Subdivision was a production company.
Got it.
Chris Longshanks, and as far as I know, he was like he's the one that comes to mind that was doing it. And as far as I know, was like one of the biggest influences. They used to do events at Lucky Bar, and they had people through. Actually, this is very good to talk about because it brings up the theory thing. Is they had Code 9 come through. I believe they had. It was like Scream. It's just like everybody crazy. I think they said they had Kingdom through, who's like a Fade to Mind boss. Maybe Bok Bok. Like all these crazy like 2010 to like 2018 legends, kind of. Well, now 2018, but it stopped before.
Yeah.
But they brought all these people through that I was huge fans of, and they were the only people doing that in the country. In Vancouver people were doing it, but like even less so. And then I tried to kind of carry on the tradition of that when I came here, and then I've started club nights in every city I've been a part of. So, which is only 4, so it's not like a big deal. But
That
like,
is a big deal.
I tried to, like, you know, always have things happening because I need to make things happen. Like I need to help people actualize their like potentials in a like creative way, because the only way we can get back in touch with each other and ourselves is to create this slowly this language, or this like codex, or like this like visual language, or like a harmonic language, sonic language. We need the time by ourselves to kind of like create these things, and so when we can speak authentically about how we feel, and knowing that how we feel, then we can learn authentically about others' feelings, because we all have the language to express it. And I believe music is, and artistic practice is that.
And the spaces that we create with this shared interest, you know. And big shout outs to you, because like, you know, we need to create the spaces that we actually want to be in. We can't be expecting that that's just going to exist, or sit around and complain.
Yeah, that was the, so like I tried to be action oriented. So when I got here, I tried to be action oriented. 2020 happened, and what happened with the lifting of the audience idea is that, like, I think at the same time, because there had been so much lead up to the elimination of the audience, as I like would call it, like the idea that music is to be made to be like exploratory of, and new sounds need to be made to express new emotions that didn't exist before. So things like the internet have created whole new situations that could have never existed before. Like, what does breaking up, Holly Herndon quote that I love. Holly Herndon on all platforms. Holly_Herndon runs a podcast called Interdependence that you should check out. Also is also Matt Dryhurst is like in the same area. But the quote is that the like as time goes on, as technology develops, there are new emotions that develop. So your emotion, so like I can't explain to my parents who've never, my mom's never owned a cell phone. God bless you. I can't explain to my mom I'm sure I could. She would get it probably.
Yeah.
But like what it's like to be broken up with via text message. Right? Like, what does that sound, what kind of heartbreak is that? Like, what does that sound like? And that's why the development of new sounds is important, because there are new things happening. So I think like being of the time is important, even when you're doing events and stuff. Yeah, and I think like Victoria is in a place right now where like it has a long history, and I feel like 2020 lifted the audience to and removed and allowed people to really like hone their practice to be themselves, as opposed to what they thought an audience would want. And then, of course, this is not, what's that? The future is, that's like unevenly distributed, obviously, through the demographic of people that make music. But like, I think there was a large portion that said, yeah, like this might never come back. And like, I don't need drums in my song anymore. And like, that was, like, I think that was the removal of the audience to me, is because dance music found a context to exist post dancing, and became like, and people were introduced to listening music in a lot of senses, and we had a lot of time to, so I kicked up the gear. I had a lot of time to prep.
Yeah.
So I wrote Chest Pains, which was, I think, like what I would call my LP for the looting project, because I was Compound before.
Yeah.
I had a project in Nelson and everything before, since 2000 and, I'd say like 2009 I took up the name Compound. And then I worked with Sensing Waves in Vancouver. So do you know the Shamix? Yeah. And then so yeah, like when I came out of 2020, I was like, nothing else matters. Like my entire life has led and kept me near the club, like totally by accident. Like I didn't it's not like I saw clubbing. I never been to a club when I understood what the club was. I lived in a small town that had country bars.
Yeah.
And my entire view of the club, as I'm sure like a lot of people have heard it, a few people talk about in interviews, and even just coming to mind, like the idea that like I'm a bit of a voyeuristic member of the club scene, because I was never like, also there's this is back to like the life story thing, like it lines up, because this is very similar to me being an outsider in a lot of senses, even in the music scene that I am a part of, being like I'm a bit of an amateur theorist or like a critical theorist, and like of course, like not everybody welcomes analysis of their goings on, but as like an anthropological process. As an anthropological process, and like to follow like the scene that I started following in Vancouver and as how it's moved and stuff. I've kept tabs on how things have developed, and I've like kept notes, and I'm working on so like the 2020 thing, basically I got my writing back, is what I'm saying. And then so from this point 2020 forward, the way that I move in Victoria now is to just like fortify the scene. Is I have many skills, and I think it's like important for me to myself to be useful and to be of use to people that deserve a voice and a platform. And it's never been well, I think in the context of like musical movements that, so like dubstep's a great example. Musical movements that took a long time. I think that we're in the midst of a place where we could be sitting in a like in a catalyst era of something like what happened with dubstep, because of the cyclical nature of how things work. Like I have a pretty good intuition about these things. I've been right a few times, and that was one. I think I think Victoria specifically, because of the amount of pressure that the generation gap in nightlife is creating right now. I think that it's a pressure cooker for genre, like or post or like genre melding. Do you want to like?
No. I
you
get
can
it.
stop me. I'm like just going.
No,
off.
I get it. And like in you talking about all of this, it's making me now think about Resonance Collective, and like how did that start, and was that something that came together because of some of the things you just talked about?
Yeah, absolutely. Is I remembered I tried to talk about this earlier, and then I got sidetracked. It was born out of necessity. I think like.
And that was how long ago with Resonance?
2021.
Yeah.
I think so. Resonance essentially started when I met Anya. Anya's my partner. We live in this apartment. Shout out Anya. Of course, love of my life, and it's so funny. Like you talk about serendipity. We met over trance music. So just going into COVID. So Resonance essentially was formed after Anya and I became friends. Daryl, who Snooze is now living elsewhere. Karen, so Jokey, and I'm just trying to think. I want to get the order right.
Yeah.
Caleb was also there.
Shout outs.
Caleb.
Black Asphalt.
Yes. And like we clumped up Quinn, so Dr. Freak also. So the core members initially. I'm sorry. I have a condition, and I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So then I believe Jama at the time, we're going by Jama, and then Scree Running and Bree Gem, and then just a little while ago, I'm just trying to think if I've forgotten anything. Please forgive me if I don't think I have. Yeah. Have I? Anyway.
Yes.
Shake it off.
Yeah.
Then we just welcomed Pim, Jenya.
How about her Spanish friend? She's
Pablo. I forgot Pablo and Lena.
That's it.
Pablo and Lena, I forgot you.
There we go.
Look me in the eyes. Know that I am sorry. Okay. Apologies.
Yeah.
I love you forever.
Yeah.
And anyway. But so Resonance started because we were all suffering in the same way, and we needed each other.
Yes.
And we liked good music, and we felt that we liked a very specific kind of good music. So we got together. Our first one was in an illegal situation. I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then the other one was the next one that we did was at Sunset Labs, which I think just got closed, or maybe is still open. But that's so like I was mentioning Hush earlier.
Yeah.
So like Victoria has these really interesting little artifacts, right? Like Hush was a really interesting one because when I got here, it was already closed.
That's a venue.
It was Hush was a venue that ran. Like I wasn't even aware of it before I came here, and I think that was just my oversight because I was paying more attention to Vancouver. Right. But Hush was a really important nightclub here, and then it closed, and then it was closed for a really long time when I got here, and everybody talked about Hush and the Hush days and everything, and I was like, wow, really
missed an era.
And then like they had Audent come to Victoria at one point, which is crazy. So Audent is like a theory group that I'll talk about online later.
Yes. We're talking about
resonance right now. So we started doing our thing in a way that we saw other people that we respected doing, and I think that we just like knew what we wanted so precisely, and we are all so hungry, and we have such a large brain. Like I feel like resonance is really high because we're all very high energy. So what happened is we all got together, and slowly we've just formed up into a nonprofit. And just recently we received a grant from Creative BC to start. It's so nice to have state sponsorship. It's so lovely. So they gave us money, and now we are running a event series that is we just did our first edition last Friday, and it's we brought Piezo, who's from an Italian sound designer, has releases on such incredible labels such as Nervous Horizon, which is a label that is hugely influential to me. So like seeing Piezo was crazy to me. Also, I'm just such a fan of their music. They run a record label. They've worked with like basically everybody that I'm a fan of. Like,
amazing. Did this event happen already or not yet?
It happened on Friday, and this is where the link up happens, right? So so the deal is that like Hush was reopened just recently under a different name, and at the moment it's like doing really well. Like it's a nice place, and Resonance has started putting on events there. I got a crazy leg cramp just now. Resonance started putting on events there. This was our first one back after like 6 months off, maybe more than 6 months. And I took 6 months off as well. So like it's just like kind of a summer of return a little bit. The event went so well, and it was so. It's the thing is that we had this project called Depot, that ran out of Quadratic Sound over in Queens Ave. And that was the home that Resonance made in the city, and how everybody kind of got introduced to us. Because as much as we did, so it was a venue that we rented. I did for a long time. I was doing a once a month that was called. I took it over from somebody who had called it Depot Rinse, and then I switched it to Depot, and then from that point, I had been running it for a little while, and then I took on Resonance. Okay, cool. Yeah. All good. Then I was like, I think this would be it would be good to approach this as a team and really make it like a home. And so we started doing that, and we started bringing in artists. As difficult as it was, because the budget obviously didn't exist and stuff, we still managed to bring in Sim, who's a massive influence on our music. We managed to have some really good connections with, well, not managed to, but like, of course we have really good connections with like Drill in Vancouver. B-side, we are obviously like, I think now we're getting pretty close to everybody in Resonance. I think Caleb still maybe needs to play, but yeah. And just like we're being we're being the EQ that we want to see in the world. That's like the corniest thing that I could come up with to kind of try to cap it up.
Cool.
So
I like
Hush,
it.
so Hush is now Downbeat, essentially different owners and everything, but it's the same spot. And we just did an event there. So like in coming here, I said this city needs like queerer music, and like it's just like, look, there's a dynasty thing that happens in BC that has happened in BC, I think, when it comes to the music that is presented to the general public. And I think like the dynasty generation gap is so large right now that when I got here, it was large. Like people have kind of like a lot of scenes have huddled a little bit, and like there's a bit of monoptics, like there's a bit of like genre pluralism going on as much when I got here. And then as the electronic and like the rave music scene in general switched over the period of like 4 or 5 years since 2020, because the like queer aesthetics of dance music have been adopted in the like very Mark Fishery like capitalist realism type way that it always does, right? Like they take it from us so they can sell it back to us, kind of thing. As that happens, those kind of aesthetics are now floating into where it's accessible, right? So whereas dubstep was an accessible aesthetic where you could kind of like, I think there's a difference between like embodying and carrying forward, and then there's photocopying.
Yes.
And I feel that Canada has a tendency to photocopy in the same way that like techno was photocopied by Europeans. Like,
I mean, it makes sense. Like our music industry is so
exactly.
much smaller. Yeah.
Almost non-existent in a lot of senses for when it comes to like independent artists. Like we really have very little infrastructure. We don't have a news source. Like I would love to. So I'm working with, I've just discovered this thing called Gig Pit. That I'm think I'm gonna work a bit heavier as a writer. But like back to Resonance being doing the thing is that like when I was envisioning my life in club terms, I've ended up in a place where I think that the thing that I've watched happen in other parts of the world, I think can happen here, and I think I can help. So if you like making music, or if you like think you could DJ, think you could make music, if you're being held back by skill sets, financials, anything at all, I'm at your service. I am here to make sure that like if you want to learn something and I know how to do it, I will help you. My DMs are open. Like I'll be linked, right? Like I just think that so I have this quote that was handed to me by a friend that is supposedly, and I believe him, but I don't want to accredit this quote to them unofficially.
Yeah.
So this is what I heard Code 9 said once.
Yeah.
Is that like my friend asked when they were playing here, my friend Quinn asked Steve Goodman if that was probably loud as hell in the microphone.
No, that's okay.
He asked Steve Goodman if like how can we do the dubstep thing that happened, the explosion, like what was going on, and like there are like very specific mechanics that I've like researched and tried to figure out about those eras, but he just very simply said, just make tunes, like just make music, go listen to music, and then make the memory of that music. And the financial barriers to music at this point are non-existent. There's no reason not to just fly at it if you have feelings. Like I think that the thing that's happened with like the popularization or like the floating up of the idea of electronic music, when all music is electronic. If it comes through a speaker, it's electronic. It's not like, it's no different than regular music. We're not talking about a different kind of expression. Singer-songwriter music has always been regional, oral traditions, and folk music is, when it's of the era of the technology that it's in, it can be singing in. But like right now, singer-songwriter music is written in Ableton or Fruity Loops, cracked copies of everything like that.
Right.
So what we're experiencing right now, I think, is like so many people are trying to sell music production to you, and so many people are seeing that and going, I can't do that unless I have money. I've been financially, so part of my background is that like because of my disability, I've been financially like not good for long periods of time. And the only thing that got me through that was the fact that like I learned how to make and record and satisfy my desire to make music any way I could. And I think that is being, sorry, and I'm saying a lot of I thinks right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm just here to help, and any financial barriers can be dealt with. All of the materials can be collected to do those things. And like, I think that the thing that needs to happen more is authentic creation of maybe like, I want to see us do a genre. I need Canada to do a genre. I know we have, but like, in some senses, but like, we need one now. It's so, mouth's so dry.
Do you need more water? Yeah.
I'm good. Sorry, I just talk really fast. But yeah, I think that the thing that Resonance, I think we all want is to be able to go, this is now something else. Like we've taken the influences, we've been listening, we've been getting to a place where we can make and make in a way that's authentic to us, in the same way that the people that we're listening to is music is authentic to them. To create a kind of like create a language that is ours, or like a sonic language that is ours. And that has to do with decolonization, that has to do with anti-establishment, that has to do with land back, that has to do with everything that's like music is the it's the thermometer of society.
Yes.
That's the
art is that.
Art
thermometer.
is that. Yeah. I see a lot of people putting energy into making sure that everybody knows that they are paying attention, and then all of that ends up being, I think that one of the things, so there's this, I put in an album, I did an ambient album. How are we doing here?
We're at an hour.
Okay, cool. That's perfect. Is there two?
No.
Oh, is there just one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. That's fine.
Yeah.
So, Resonance Collective Shift.
Yeah.
We're doing shows at Downbeat from here to the end of the year, and we have state sponsorship. Thank you, Creative BC. Very stoked to even have the possibility to do some of the things that we're thinking about doing. So some of the things that we're talking about, and the general idea of Shift is that we want to bring context to the club. So the idea is that the evening is set up to have a workshop. So, for example, the show that we just did, Piezo is a sound designer and an incredible sound designer. So we took the opportunity to run a by donation workshop to invite everybody we knew that wanted to either start making music, was really good at music already. Everybody that is interested can come for free or by donation, just get in there and learn things. And then as you learn things, you will discover kind of like, maybe if you heard a sound once and then you know how that sound is made, that is an applicable concept to the political context of music, the theoretical and philosophical context of music. The contexts of music are so many that like there is an infinite amount of workshops to illuminate the music that you will then hear in the club later, which is, and I want to be clear, like I like dark clubs. Resonance is about dark clubs.
Dark as in
smoke, dark. Don't see yourself on the dance floor. There's a trend of birthday party lights on the dance floor. People being able to see each other at a concert. I don't understand. Like, I really need everybody that runs a venue or like works in anything with venues to look up the word immersion. That would be wicked. And then, so basically, like, I want to assure you that if you come to a Resonance show, it will be correctly immersive. And I don't mean immersive in the same sense that VFX guys mean immersive.
Yep.
I mean immersive as in it will be dark enough for you to forget that you are being looked at, because every day we are being looked at. And we don't get to escape, and the club is our escape. It is the escape, and I'll stop talking now.
Yeah, in that darkness too, it's like the immersion, the way I am receiving that is that it's like you get to become the vibration that is like already permeating within the space.
I don't want anybody to like look at me while I'm doing this. Like, I need to be alone while I'm doing this, and I don't care if they're right here.
But
I
like,
don't want to
let's
see
be
them.
alone together.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. Are you hungry? Do we want to
let's
this
eat.
on camera?
Yeah. I was saying earlier that I have I don't know. It's like talking to the iPhone. It's wicked.
Yeah.
But like I was saying earlier that I have some. I don't know. I just have like some sensory issues when it comes to like food and food sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel good today. Yeah. And I did a little earlier, so I'm okay. Oh my God! I've been hearing about this place.
You know about it?
Oh,
okay, so we went to a
you got
place
the eggplant
called maíz. It's not an eggplant.
Oh, is it mice?
No. It's
Oh,
maíz.
Wow,
Have you been there?
I literally
Maíz
worked for the person
nixtamal.
that owns that.
Yeah. Oh, so you've eaten this food before?
I actually helped make it at one point.
Oh my gosh!
So they had a pop-up at Breakwater Cafe
Oh
when
my
I was
gosh.
working there. And, you got a coffee too?
No, it's not a coffee. Look at this. It is esquites, which is like Mexican street corn style
I'm
with
so
like
excited about
cotija
this.
cheese
We can
and
talk
like
about
salsa.
decolonization with this.
Yeah.
Like,
So these are tamales.
Yeah.
One is beef. One is refried beans. On top, they've got the cheese. They've got the pickled onions. Oh my God, I am hungry. The smell is amazing. We're just gonna let the people on the internet look at it, but cannot smell it.
You know that guy on TikTok that's like, "Ear, you get the first bite."
Yeah.
I love him.
So we're gonna do a reaction
God.
shot. We're gonna try these things.
Shout out. So I'm gonna
Yes.
say 2 words here, but I want you to know the second word is the name of the person that runs the restaurant. Shout out Israel, but that is the name of the person that runs the restaurant, Maze, or is part of it. Because I worked for them and they're dope. They worked for some of the best chefs in the world.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't know if do people get context about the food?
Tell
There's
us.
Super cool context about the food.
Tell us what you know.
So, it has to do with the corn that they use. So, when I was working at that restaurant, I learned that the practice that they're employing for the grinding of the corn for like truly traditional nixtamal corn and like the non modern corn adaptations that have. So these are all like legacy strains. Somebody's gonna should be really explaining this better than I can.
Yeah.
But it was even just when we were talking about theory, like even when I was cooking, so I was cook. Oh, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Cooked for
We're
like
trying this
25
right
years, so theory fits into food as well.
Bon appetitis,
Bon
or
appetitis.
buen provecho, as we say in Mexico.
How much do you put on the fork? Okay, we good. I'm making a fool of myself in front of everybody.
That is corn
probably
kernels and hominy.
We got this. I got this. No.
Look at that. Look at that.
Got it.
The hominy is well cooked.
Oh my god, what is that called?
Hominy. So like the bigger pieces of corn kernels or maíz. This is.
Oh my
he has
God,
to
it's
walk
so
off stage.
good.
Yep.
Oh my god. So I didn't get to eat much of it because people were buying it so quickly. When I worked there, I didn't get to eat as much of it. But are you gonna leave this here?
Yes, we're gonna share. We're gonna make sure Jamal has a bite and gets to taste.
Okay. Do you want me to
We're
feed?
the ones who
Can I
are.
feed you?
If only you could see behind the scenes.
I'm joking.
He's trying to go behind there
I
and
was trying to feed Jamal.
feed homeboy over here.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna have one more bite. Of
Have
the
one more
cheese
bite, and
piece
then we're
first.
gonna go and sample this and tell the humans about how good it is.
It's so pretty too.
Yeah. So this one is this one's the beef.
We're gonna sample this one first.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was cooked within a banana leaf.
Oh.
You know.
I love banana.
Yep. And kind of like a ground up corn mixture. Inside is the beef. On top, we've got like the pickled onions, which have a bit of a like sour kick. The cotija cheese, and then some cabbage, I think.
Oh my god, cabbage. The cabbage is really hitting.
You know what's funny?
That's
Is when
so
these
good.
when these get cold, they don't usually taste good. It's like cold fries, right? I'm not into that. But this is like it's good
The
still.
texture is. It's like. Oh, what? It's like if a sausage had. This is like sausage 2. Like sausage. The evolution of sausage. I would rather eat this than sausage.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well,
I'm
I mean,
just
and
sorry,
you get
I'm
your
just getting right in
get
there.
right in there.
Wait,
This
I'm
one
gonna
is the
maybe
beans
do a
now.
little stacky. With a little. Because this is my favorite food on the planet is
Mexican?
Specifically the pickled onions, but yeah, Mexican's up there. I'm a big fan of Tunisian food. That's my favorite
Whoa, what's that like?
It's well, if you've heard of or been to Super Baba, I think like they have similar items to some Tunisian food, but I just like I'm obsessed with malfouf. It's like my favorite.
What's that?
It's like a salted cabbage coleslaw.
Okay.
It's just
and
like-
do they serve that at Super Baba, or where would I get that?
I'm not sure if you can get Malfu. I don't think Super Labo has it.
Yo, you gotta try this. Now this is the beans, the refried beans, or frijol. This one's really good. It has a bit of a kick to it, kind of different from the beef one.
I'm a spice junkie. I love spicy food.
Oh yeah.
It looks like serious cake. Like, you know, like pretty cake is like silly. This is like cake. It's caked up. This is caked up and delicious.
Are you ready for something fun?
No.
While you eat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's fun stuff to it.
It's something I've been doing with each guest is rapid fire questions
let's go.
while eating.
Okay, I'll keep eating.
You're not allowed to go on any tangents. You just have to go straight.
Is it one word?
Enter. One word or sentence or whatever.
Oh no.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna eat a little more of this.
Yep. Dream collab, dead or alive.
Lee Gamble.
A genre you secretly love but never play out.
Oh my God. Maybe. Probably hardstyle. I do play hardstyle out, so that's a bad answer. Psytrance.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Actually, shout out Sally Selects for teaching me about ambient psytrance.
One producer who blew your mind and changed how you hear music.
Local or international?
Come again?
Local or international?
Drums
Wait,
first.
I like local or international artist that blew my mind.
Oh, I thought that was the name. With your
Yeah,
food
see,
in
I'm
your
not good
mouth.
at this. I'm not good at the
No, you're great. You're slaying.
slang. Okay, I'll just pick
Okay,
the
local and then an international.
Local, Michael Red.
You get both.
Michael Red changed the way that I look at music. Oh, also self-evident. I'd say that both of them had an equal part in me being weird as this. So
okay.
that's your fault now.
Because I know Michael and because he is a Van City legend, or I know him from Vancouver, but why would you say that? Like, why? How did he blow your mind and changed you?
Introduced me to cymatics and also rhythmically. Him and I've always felt very connected to his rhythmic tendencies. The album Hydrology was kind of my like we were talking about voyeurism. Like I feel that Hydrology touched on things that I was familiar with in Jersey club and club music at the time, and then took it to a place that was another area of my interest. So it's almost like an ambient club album. It came out on, actually I'm playing Sev's, so it came out on Affect, which is Hexadecibel and Cure's label, or is or was, and that came out on there. So sorry, rapid fire, let's go.
Dope.
No,
drums?
I never do it.
Drums first or melody first when building a track?
Oh, it depends on the track. There is no yes or no.
Good answer. Biggest musical red flag on a date?
Biggest? Marilyn Manson.
One sound or sample you're obsessed with right now?
Can I show you?
No.
Okay, there's a TikTok of the person that's been yelling "Free Palestine" in front of the embassy for like a year and a half now. He's like,
in
Free Palestine! Like,
Yeah.
or like, stop genocide! But the police they allow him to demonstrate. That's the best. Well, I don't know his pronouns, so I don't know their pronouns.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, like, they allow the Japanese police officers are so sweet, and like they're only trying to get him out of the rain.
Yeah.
I love that about it.
So
And
this
he's
sound.
I need that man. Sorry, what?
This sound is the one that you're obsessed
Free
with.
Palestine.
Love
Free
it.
Palestine is my is what I'm chilling with right now, and that would be my favorite slogan. So say it 3 more times: Free Palestine, Free Palestine, Free Palestine.
Boom shakalaka laka. If your sound had a scent, what would it be?
Death.
Late night studio snack of choice.
Oh, ding dong.
Oh, like the
Like the chickpea bags, like the small ones.
No,
might have one
I
of-
thought ding dong as in like the American.
Oh, sorry, Bing. What? Oh no, what is it called?
He's talking about a healthy snack.
No,
not
it's like a
the-
little chickpea. It's like it's in the Filipino section in 7-Eleven.
Oh snap! I know what you're talking
You know what I'm
about.
talking
It's not chickpeas. It's like a corn
It's green
nick.
pea. Green. It's got like green wasabi peas, but they're not spicy. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah. They have
bing-
different flavors
big,
of that.
Big bag.
I think
ding
it
dong,
is called ding dong or something like
something
this.
like that.
I thought you were talking about the American like
Those are also
chocolate
good. Actually,
cakey things.
okay, I'm gonna.
I love that you love that as your snack.
I'm gonna tell you something that I swore I would never say publicly.
Okay.
Also Twinkies, like literally Twinkies, like Hostess Twinkies.
Wow.
Sponsor me.
Okay, moving on. What was a turning point track or set that shifted how you saw yourself as an artist?
Unit playing the Project Moon Circle Boiler Room after party when he opened with the forthcoming tune from what ended up being, you know, the one with all the grids, light grids, and that moment when he dropped that song, and like I saw later played that Sinistar tune, which was like the first time I had connected that, like, oh, I know who that is. Unit just played. So like my knowledge of the UK music scene developed slowly to know about like how they all communicated back then and stuff like that. But like that clicked for me that I can just call these people with my music. If I can just call them. It's not like bands and stuff. It's not like when I was growing up, there was this myth that like at some point a record label will scoop you up. If you're good enough, a record label will scoop you up, give you an advance, and you will probably be fine. And I was good enough to get that advance just as the record industry just... Wow, I'm going off and you got more questions. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, only two more.
Oh wait, I won't look.
What's something the Victoria scene doesn't get enough credit for?
Wow, that's a tough one. I think that the Victoria music scene doesn't get enough credit for diversity. I think that like, and when I say diversity, I think there's like a lot of different stuff going on at the same time. So like I'm a big fan of people smushing themselves together in small spaces, and I think like Victoria has a lot of potential to be a really good place to do that in a lot of different places. I think that one thing Victoria doesn't get enough credit for is it's probably like how long the club history is here. So I think there's interesting connections if you go back far enough, like we were talking about Hush. Yeah. That building is really old. There's been a few clubs before that. So I'm working on like historical excavation project with I'm working on a bunch of different projects that have to do with research, and I'm tying it into my work with Downbeat right now, because I think it's very important to connect Victoria, because the like separation of the origin of a genre to the presentation of a genre in Western Canada traditionally has been erasing the roots of that genre entirely. So when you're working with like say, it's like a good example now would be if you were to say like Bollyfunk is a good example. Mm-hmm. Like people love playing Bollyfunk, but they don't love booking Portuguese and Brazilian and Bollyfunk artists. They like booking like people that are like taking that music, the photocopying thing. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's a lot of potential to really like grow organically a new genre that feels right for Victoria. That's what I feel it doesn't get enough credit for, is the potential.
Ooh. Yeah, and I believe that.
I believe that.
It's a vibe out here.
It is a vibe out here.
Last question. What's one thing you wish more creatives in Victoria would try, risk, or remember?
Did you say artists?
Yeah, creatives. Creatives in Victoria would try, risk, or remember.
That I'm here for you. That if you need copy written, if you need photography, if you need graphic design, like I'm not incredible, but I'll do it for free because I want to help you. Because we have to start doing things. We need to get active.
Yes. Unless you're asking for a lot, then this man's time is valuable, and there should be some kickback, or even some food. Feed the man. All of this. Yeah. This whole show is now an ASMR show.
Ooh, no, that's the thing though. I have an ASMR thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a trigger.
Dude, I appreciate you so much.
Can I give you a hug, or our microphone's gonna smash?
No. Yo, this was awesome. It was so good to get a glimpse into your world, your mind, your background story, and there's so much more. So, y'all, if you want to find out more about looting, where can they find you? How can they learn more? Especially with these upcoming Resonance Collective events, if you're based in the Victoria region. If you want to get a hold of me, my DMs are open on all platforms, and basically I'm looting music. On Blue Sky, though, I get crazy, and you can follow me as Rot Stewart.
So there's like that's how you get a hold of me. If you want to follow my nonsense, Blue Sky, SoundCloud, everything else is just looting. So
Yeah.
see you there. And yeah, seriously, message me.
We are going to finish up this meal. Shout out to everyone who's tuned in on the live stream, everyone who's watching the replay after. We appreciate you. Once again, this has been Beats, Eats, and...
I was going to do death metal growl, but I think I'm going to go,
yeah.
more!
No, I want to do the death metal ground.
I don't know if hold on, let's try
Okay,
it.
Brett. Beats, Eats, and...
More! That's all that's horrible. I haven't done that in a long time. And Vancouver is going to make fun of me for it. I have to leave.
Bye.